Okay, as you see, I'm grinding it. I'm using an 8-inch grinder. You can see the wheel's less than 8 inches because it kind of goes down. It's just a masonry wheel. This color quartz that we used yesterday to fill holes is very hard, but it's in there shallow, so it's knocking off. If you want to do it, you can have one of these, but you can buy machines that are 4-inch ones. This one cost me $10 on sale. They sell for about $20 normally. They're the same thing, masonry wheel. It's just a little smaller, so you can do the same thing. Now, obviously you can make this a car finish if you want to. Grind it, fill it, grind it, fill it. But what we're going to do today is what most homeowners would want to do. Just get it nice and smooth, make it easy to keep clean, get rid of the big cracks they had, the big gaps, the major holes. And we're going to use some color chips on it to camouflage what's left. So the next step I'm going to do is, I found that 2 or 3 spots we got little low spots or it's leaked through. I'm going to mix a little grout and put it in there. Now the grout isn't as strong as the epoxy filler we had, but we got most of it done with the epoxy, and a little space, 1 inch long or whatever, probably unlikely anything's going to suck it straight up. So we're going to use this grout into those little areas. The nice thing is it's going to dry in 10-15 minutes. We're going to be able to coat over it even if it's still wet. It's not going to hold us up at all. And yes, there could be a problem with one of those spots a year from now or 2 years from now. If so, we'll just redo it and touch it in. Now, another option would have been to do another coat of liquid epoxy, 100% solid, to fill these, and then grind it off tomorrow. But we'd have to wait 12 hours for it to set up. If you're a homeowner and doing it yourself, you might say, well, I'm going to spend another day and just keep doing it until we get it the way we want it. But as I say, most people don't want to put that kind of effort and time into it, especially a floor like this that had a lot of cracks. Now, one of the reasons this had a lot of cracks is there were no expansion joints here. There's no cuts in the floor, no zip strips. And so one of the things is, as the concrete shrinks, it tends to make little stress areas where it wants to pull apart. And now that might have been the case, or the slab might have settled a little bit. Either way, we had gaps that were up to 1/4 inch wide here in many spots. And now those will pretty much disappear. It should be easy to keep clean. I'm going to go right into mixing my grout. The grout is just a powder. We mix it at about the consistency of peanut butter. I'm not going to use too much water. I'm going to need just a little bit. So I'm just going to pour in a small amount and just use one of my paint mixing sticks and use the powder. We sell this, it's pretty cheap. I think we sell it for $3 or $3.98 a cup. This amount of powder here will probably do this whole room. Now we could have filled all these big cracks with that. It's just that they were so wide, I wanted to use the epoxy. It's harder, it actually glues these together, and we have a better job because we did that. But we have more effort because we have all these grains to clean up. And I have to be careful not to make it too dry. It's a little harder to put in, but I don't want it so wet that it's going to take a little while to dry. So I want to, make a little judgment call on it. Now we're going to walk through in a minute here and show you some different areas I'm going to fill. But here's one right here. This is just a little shallow spot. You can see I can just put it in here, and we're going to be using a little sanding screen in a minute, and that will take care of any of these little rough edges I leave. So if I have a little bit like this, it'll just knock off here in a minute. But that's going to be flat enough. And if I think one of these little cracks is going to show up, I could go down the crack as well, try to fill that. Now again, this isn't as strong as the epoxy, but it's going to make it nice and flat, and I'm going to just take the chance it's not going to come out. Here's another little spot that we just happened to not get filled quite as well as we wanted to. This is a lot easier to work with than the epoxy because it's a small grain. And again, these little things will just come off when we go do the grinding. Okay, we'll walk back here now and we'll take a look at some of these places we missed.